Hello everyone, welcome to the 17-Mile Story Collection. Today we'll dive into the immortal cultivation diary of the young Zhao Sr. For an entire month, every time Zhao's son went to fetch water, he would drink plenty of spring water infused with the mysterious pearl. His body grew sturdier by the day, brimming with endless strength. In the beginning, it took him 6 days to fill 10 vats of water, but now he could accomplish the same task in just 3. Yet, to avoid drawing suspicion, he always rose before dawn, carrying his buckets at an unhurried pace along the mountain paths. In this way, even though others were surprised that he finished his task in half the time, most dismissed it as nothing more than the result of his relentless early rising and late working. Over the past month, nearly all of the registered disciples had come to know of Zhao's son each time they saw him. Their faces bore smug, condescending expressions, their words dripping with venomous mockery. Zhao's son, however, ignored them all. He understood these disciples were twisted inside. Before he had arrived, they themselves occupied the lowest rung of the sect, burdened with toil they could not vent. Now, with him here, someone who had forced his way into the sect through suicide, his status was even lower than theirs, making him the perfect target for their bullying. He sneered inwardly. He knew that defiance would solve nothing. In the sect, strength reigned supreme. Those who had joined earlier were already far stronger than him, and some had even learned basic cultivation techniques. If he fought back, he would only suffer. But Zhao's son was no pushover. He etched every sneer and insult deep into his memory, waiting for the day his strength would rise high enough to repay them, one by one. With this resolve, he moved through each day as though deaf and blind. No matter what was said, he continued on his path, fetching water by day, secretly experimenting with the pearl by night. He tried soaking it in all manner of liquids: spring water, dew, sweat, even blood. In the end, he discovered dew worked best. But not all dew was the same. The most effective was the dew that formed on the stone pearl at dawn, with nighttime dew being slightly weaker. Dew collected from other surfaces proved less effective. Next came spring water, while sweat and blood held almost no effect at all. To avoid suspicion, Zhao's son found several wild gourds in the mountains, hollowed them out, and used them to store different kinds of dew. These gourds he never carried back to the sect. Instead, he buried them deep in secluded spots in the wilderness, retrieving them only when he needed to collect fresh dew. The only one he kept on him was a gourd filled with spring water. A few sips when weary, and he would feel instantly revitalized. He also noticed something strange. Whenever dew formed on the pearl at night or dawn, the surface appeared covered with droplets. Yet when he tried to collect them, more than half would vanish mysteriously, leaving less than a tenth behind. The only explanation Zhao's son could come up with was that the pearl itself had absorbed the dew. The idea sounded absurd, but aside from this, he had no other answer. That evening, after filling the last 3 water tanks, Zhao's son walked over to the yellow-robed senior, who was meditating, and said carefully, "Brother Niu, I need to return home for a while. I won't be coming tomorrow." The young man cracked one eye open, gave him a sideways glance, and simply snorted. Zhao's son wasn't offended. He had already learned from Li Xiang that every registered disciple was allowed 3 visits home each year. As long as they applied to elder son, they would be granted a talisman, something that looked like a display of immortal magic, though in truth it was simple and crude. This time he had to go. His father's birthday was coming up, and no matter what, Zhao's son wanted to be there. So, he headed straight to the sect's main compound. The sect of Penglai was divided into 6 courtyards, 5 elemental halls for the outer disciples, and the central court for inner disciples and elders. During his months of hauling water, Zhao's son had often gazed at that place from afar, full of envy. Now, standing at its gates, he took a deep breath and called out, "Registered disciple Zhao's son, requesting an audience with elder son." Before long, a young man in white robes strolled out. He looked Zhao's son up and down with clear disdain. "So you're Zhao's son?" Seeing the white robes, Zhao Sen's heart tightened. He knew well what they meant. In Hengyue's sect, clothing marked status, gray and yellow for registered disciples, with yellow reserved for those who had learned basic immortal techniques. Inner disciples, on the other hand, wore colors ranked from strongest to weakest: purple, black, white, and red. The white-robed youth curled his lip and turned back inside. Zhao Sun followed silently. Soon, they arrived at a small garden full of herbs and flowers. The youth lazily called out, "Uncle Sun, a registered disciple seeks an audience." Then he stepped aside, unconcerned. From inside came an aged voice. "You may leave. Let the disciple enter." The youth chuckled and withdrew. Zhao's son, suddenly tense, pushed the gate open. At once, a rich medicinal fragrance rushed over him. He froze. Outside, there hadn't been the slightest hint of a scent, yet here, separated by just one door, the air was thick with it. "What are you standing there for? Speak your name." The old voice was sharp with irritation. Zhao's son quickly bowed. "Disciple Zhao's son, paying respects to Elder Sunday. My father's birthday is tomorrow. I wish to return home for a visit." There was a pause, then a cold snort. "So you're Zhao's son? Humph. Cultivators must cut off all ties to the mortal world. With a heart like yours, you'll never step onto the true path of immortality." Zhao's son frowned, unable to hold back. "Disciple has yet to learn any immortal arts. How can I already be called a cultivator?" Silence. Then the old voice, impatient. "You have 3 days. Go and return quickly. Here, this is a 1,000-mile talisman. Paste it to your leg, and it will boost your speed. It can be used twice." With that, a slip of plain yellow paper floated gently from a window, landing at Zhao Sen's feet. He bent down, carefully tucked it away, and left. He knew these talismans weren't precious, simple, crude, barely worth an inner disciple's glance. Yet for ordinary folk, they were miraculous, enough to dazzle crowds and lure new children to join the sect. Leaving the main court, Zhao's son packed his belongings, bid a quick farewell to Li Xiang, and descended the mountain. The night sky glittered with stars. He had intended to wait until morning, but fearing he might miss his father's birthday, he decided to travel through the night. But just as he left, in that same garden, Elder Sun stepped out to gather some herbs. Suddenly, his expression darkened. His eyes locked on the plants by the gate. The blue thread grass there. Every last stalk had withered to ash. Puzzled, Elder Nyo stepped into the herb garden, only to be stunned. The blue-lined grass was almost completely withered, and even the purple night flowers on the other side were drooping. Not as bad, but definitely unusual. Just this afternoon, everything had been lush and green. But now, dead and dried up. He picked up a stalk of blue-lined grass and studied it closely. The leaves were shriveled, drained of all moisture. Yet the soil beneath was still damp, perfect for herbs to thrive. That didn't make sense. His eyes narrowed. This afternoon. Only one person came by, but he's just a registered disciple. How could he cause this? Without another thought, Elder Nyo flicked his sleeve. His body rose into the air, rainbow-colored clouds forming beneath his feet, carrying him straight toward the chores department. "Who's in charge here?" His voice cracked like thunder. The yellow-robed disciple on duty, surnamed Lu, stumbled out of a room, face pale, and fell to his knees, kowtowing in terror. Elder Nyo frowned. "Do you have a record of Zhao's son?" The disciple's heart skipped a beat. He never expected an elder to personally ask about that so-called useless disciple. Thinking of how he'd mocked Zhao's son before, his face turned white as a sheet. He stammered, panicking. "Why, yes, Elder. Zhao's son is hard-working and diligent. Truly a role model. I've always admired him." Elder Nyo almost laughed, but kept his stern face. The truth was, his status among second-generation disciples was low. So seeing this kind of fear only stroked his ego. "Which courtyard does Zhao's son live in?" The northern corner, the earth sub-courtyard." Before he even finished, Elder Nyo's figure flashed into a rainbow streak, vanishing into the sky. Lu was left trembling. Regret gnawed at his heart. He swore to himself, "Next time I see Zhao's son, I'll never mock him again. No, I'll treat him like my own ancestor. Anyone personally questioned by an elder must be someone special." At the earth sub-courtyard, Elder Nyo scanned with his spiritual sense. No trace of Zhao's son. He found the registry, checked the room number, and went straight there. Inside, Li Xiang was snoring away, completely unaware of his visitor. Elder Nyo's brows furrowed. He muttered to himself, "Left in such a hurry. Humph. No matter. When he returns, I'll find out the truth." Zhao's son was making his way through the mountains, a talisman stuck to his leg. The charm truly was magical. Warm energy flowed into his body, gathering at his feet, glowing bright white. From a distance, he looked like a real immortal descending the earth. Even the wild beasts of the forest didn't dare come near. One glimpse of that light, and they scattered away in fear. The breeze was fresh, the mountain air crisp, and Zhao Sen's mood lifted. His steps grew lighter, faster. The night passed quietly. At dawn, he took a sip from his gourd of spring water, full of energy. Glancing back, he saw the forest already behind him. Ahead, the county town wasn't far. By the time the sun was fully up, Zhao's son entered the bustling town market. People filled the streets, vendors shouting, laughter in the air. He strolled around, bought a few gifts for his parents, and left without delay. By midday, he reached the village. From afar, he saw a tall red banner hanging at his home, a giant longevity character painted across it. Carriages lined the entrance, guests going in and out. His father's birthday celebration was in full swing. Zhao's son paused, then sped forward. To the crowd gathered outside, it was like a flash of white light streaked across the sky. Then suddenly, Zhao's son was standing right there at the gate. Everyone gasped in admiration. "Second brother, look at this child. Handsome, extraordinary, he's truly immortal material." Exactly. Back then the immortal overlooked him, but later regretted it and took him as a disciple. From now on, the Zhao family will rise with these children. I must have been blind. Look at him now, he's the very image of a dragon among men. Zhao's son, don't blame your fifth uncle for the past. Even immortals can misjudge. We mortals even more so. Let me apologize to you now. Voices rose one after another. The very same relatives who once mocked him now wore warm smiles, their tone dripping with affection. Inside, Zhao's son only sneered in his heart. But just then, his father rushed out, delighted, grabbing his son's hand with joy. "Good, and you're back? Didn't I tell you to focus on your cultivation at Ponglai Pavilion? Not to worry about us here." Zhao's son studied his father's face. He looked younger, fewer wrinkles, clearly happy these days. Smiling, Zhao's son said, "Don't worry, Dad. Every disciple gets 3 chances a year to visit home. I came back this time just for your birthday. After the celebration, I'll return immediately." His father beamed, looking proudly at the relatives, then pulled his son inside. "Wife, look. See who's come home." His mother, surrounded by womenfolk inside, instantly perked up. She hurried over, grabbed Zhao Sen's hand, her face filled with joy, asking question after question. Warmth filled Zhao Sen's heart. After a month of cold stares and ridicule from outsiders, being back home, feeling his parents' care, was like stepping into the truest comfort he had ever known. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please leave a comment, give it a like, and share it with others. Your support gives me even more motivation.